Welcome to YASH Technologies webinar on how EWM is transforming Industry 4.0 solutions. My name is Jason Kite, a solution architect for purchasing and warehouse management here at YASH. So today's webinar agenda, we are going to be talking about, let's move on to the next screen up here. So this is me, my image. So today we are really going to be talking about some of the industry challenges, the solutions and YASH initiatives in this space, and what all things we are doing in terms of helping the customers out. And obviously we're going to take up some of the question answers at the end of the sessions. You can also email us, let's say if you can't get to us in the chat box, you can email us your questions at ewm@yash.com. So that's another way you can reach us. Let's go to the next slide up here. So starting with the topic, now we are going to be looking at some of the best industry solutions. So now, before we start into, let's ask general question: what is Industry 4.0 is? So now with that, I'm going to have a survey question on the top of your screens. Take a look and see what you think. Do we have a question on this survey? Okay, so this is it. So as you can see, Industry 4.0 is a major part of any company's digital transformation. So the general definition of 4.0 is really the rise of digital industrial technology. Industry transformations allows us to work alongside machines in a newly highly productive way. So that's the general definition of Industry 4.0. Now, what it means for you as a customer or as a supplier. So think about a scenario that you are a supply chain manager of your organization. So now from your role perspective, so now because you are a supply chain manager, obviously you have some certain set of challenges. So what those challenges are and how, what are the ways you can look for? So say, for instance, you have a role where you are looking at, some of the processes and organizational and activities, the way you can maximize the outcomes. That's a very, basic outcome, very express, and a goal you have in your mind. Also, part of your thing is, what are the business cases actually you can create to support your plan to go digital? So that's another thing. So maybe you're also thinking about, what are the ways you can really launch some of the pilot programs to really, get your goals going. So do you have any solutions? So think about those challenges. Really, there's no better available ways you have. So you're always looking for the ways. Probably you're also looking for, what are the actions you can take as an organization? So do you need help from different departments? Probably you need some support from warehouse teams, supply chain teams. So there are a lot of folks out there from the logistics in an execution perspective, some of the guys in off-site location. So you have really to do a lot from the collaboration perspective. So that's the challenge you're looking at. You're also looking at, maybe you need to hire some smart people, the people who are good with technology. Probably they know more what's happening in the industry. So all these questions are the ones, right? So now, given the fact that with these questions you have in mind, what are the ways? So what SAP obviously have given some thoughts around these questions and these challenges really. And so they have really come up with some of the goals and some handy ready-made goals where you can look at. These are the things you can look at. So you as a supply chain manager, for instance, you are looking at some of the smart products. So smart factories, you have some smart assets, and some of the people goals. So now from the smart products, what it means for you. So really the smart products is going to give you some upper hand in terms of, like what are those products are where you have a minimum manual intervention. So say, for instance, this is a digital era. Obviously you are looking at some of the optimum, results with a minimum, manual intervention. That's your prime objective, right? So the conventional ecosystem where you had a lot of errors, people were doing manual work, so it's all gone. It's just no room for all those errors nowadays. So with the emergence of SAP S4 HANA solution, the legacy systems have been replaced with all the digital solutions, which has made the entire business process really easy to carry out. Solutions are in cloud, as you can see. And so what it means is it's bringing self-awareness. The products are connected, and the information, for instance, you are looking at storage sections. For instance, you want to have some storage conditions, utilization capacity of the product health, and all those things. So all those awareness you should be able to create from those smart products. So that's the goal you have. Probably you will also looking at how those products can help improve the quality of the customer service. Those goals in mind are general things which you have. From smart factories perspective, you're looking at some of the artificial intelligence technologies which those units are using. You can probably look at the big data analytics, some of the Internet of Things. So those are some of the features you're looking at. And by utilizing the smart factories, really you are looking at delivering the customized products in a cost-effective and scalable manner to your customers. So that's your end goal. From a smart asset perspective, you can probably look at some of the things which are for instance, if you buy any machinery or any equipment, right? So what it means is that they're all coming with inbuilt sensors. So those sensors will help you connect the your digital devices to your main systems, and you'll be able to track the movements, and you'll be able to do the better reporting. So that's the goal. So the point is here, you are actually taking the dual advantage of integrated assets with the business process. So you have technology and you have devices, they're all connected, they're talking to each other. And obviously the people is really a key factor for you, because those are the people who are actually running the show for you. And obviously those people are up to date, and the technology wise, certification wise, knowledge was, those are some of the things you're looking at. So keeping in mind, we'll move to the next slide up here, and then we'll see that with those goals in mind. So we have some of these products on the screen, which are the part of industry IoT solutions for EWM, starting with BTP. What BTP is? Nothing. BTP is your business technology platform. So SAP really has created a unified centric platform, which has really got 4 major pillars in terms of your database. You've got your analytics, application development, intelligent technology. So all are part of this BTP solution. So if you are on SAP S4, let's say anytime down the line, you are looking at enhancing your system, so you don't have to worry about some of the platforms. You already, the structure set up, you just have to get the data, and the integration system will work in, and you'll be able to integrate your things. So that's the advantage of BTP. So really BTP is coming up with business-centric approach in mind. You have your pre-built content, which is ready to use in terms of integration, analytics, or robotic process automation. Those are some of the things you can look at. You have consistency across the environment. So obviously there's no mismatch, there's no data issues, so systems are all in sync. And obviously this is a future-proof solution. As I said, you may not be ready today, but if you are going with BTP platform, obviously your system becomes more future-proof, and you will be able to adapt to any changes as and when it's needed. So looking at the second product, so I'll keep the warehouse insights for later. Let's go through MFS. So MFS is, again, it's a material flow system. Now this is another technology in warehouses. As you might be knowing as supply chain manager, this is really meant to connect your automatic warehouses using as extended warehouse management. So SAP EWM really helps you connect your automation from large warehouses, where you'll be able to do any additional work without any need of additional control unit. So that's the important factor. So the cost saving is a major when you use MFS in the EWM. We're looking at pick to light. So pick to light is another function, right? This is a picking function. So what it does is really, it just coordinates the picking, packing, and transportation in a different activity areas of your warehouse, and those functions can be, integrated as a part of the solution. Obviously, robotics is another great tool from the IoT perspective in EWM space. What it does really is, it just, mitigates your challenges. You have to do, let's say you are doing thousands of deliveries in a day. Just imagine the amount of work you have. So all those challenges in terms of SAP warehouses, you have repeat work, you have, so all those things can be taken care by robotics, obviously. So which means you don't have to buy additional devices, but you can use the robotics warehouses, which is a part of the solution, and those repetitive activities can be taken care. So that's the technology which will dramatically reduce the need of any integrators or anything from the reuse is a great feature of this product, obviously. So some of those things, and it's really secured and it's really reliable too. So those are some of the things, it has. Now, looking at the warehouse insights is, again, this is one of the important features of from the IoT perspective. So what it does is really, it's a system which really looks at from the advanced planning tool and perspective. So it's a cloud platform. It just looks at your organizational overall view from a warehousing operations and resource utilization perspective. So we just have to also look at how your machine languages are talking to your actual operations. So you'll be able to really, so those tools, they complement each other in EWM. So EWM core system works with warehouse insights, and it just extracts the data in terms of looking at the functions. You're looking at additional capabilities with the layout visualizations. For instance, you're looking at some of the operational KPIs. For instance, you have resource utilization simulations, real-time warehouse operations. So some of those features, which is part of those insights you've been looking at. So obviously we have designed those things, and we as a company have been working in this space for a long time, helping our customers. So I'll talk about some of our initiatives, but right now, so this is the where the tool warehouse insights can help build you lots of KPIs. It's a great area where you can actually analyze how well your warehouse is set up in terms of your processes, in terms of your layout, in terms of your resources. So that's a great tool to look at. So we'll just move to the next slide up here. Now this one up here, I've tried to put some of the screens of the system screen. So we did not have a great system. I could not system, but again, these are the actual screens from the insights. So this screen itself talks about some of the KPIs, parameters. So what we've done is, we're looking at some of the overview statuses, KPIs. There are a couple on overview status from the warehousing operations. And then there's one on the live status perspective. We have got a couple on the bin and the order status. So those different screens, as you can see, now we have an you could just go into drill down on different color combinations, and then it can give you the real-time analytics and status of what's happening. So that's the key takeaways. You can have those real-time bin information, and it'll tell you where those bins are and what's the status and coordinates are. So those are some of the things you'll be able to simulate the order assignments as well, in terms of what are the KPIs, how much time the actual order is taking. So all those KPIs. So it's really a detailed insight tool from the IoT perspective, and this is cloud-based. As I said, you can use it the way you want to use it, and obviously there are some standard features which can be used to look into that. So I'll just take a pause here, and I think there's a survey question which can come up here, and let's put this question on the screen here. So here we're asking some of the questions about the supply chain. If you're a supply chain manager, what's the you have. So obviously, as you can see, the importance of using IoT is where we are trying to insist on. Now, So here, as a company, what exactly we are doing and how we're helping our customers is what I'll spend a few minutes talking about some of the things here. So really, we as a YASH, what are we doing in this space to help our customers, and what are some of the initiatives we have? So this is the area where I'll just like to talk about. So really, as a company, we are putting a lot of attention the customer needs, and we are looking at how we can help our customers. So really, in terms of bringing the radical improvements in productivity and businesses. So we are all we are saying is that we are doing those, helping those customers making those data driven decisions. We are also helping them improve their forecast accuracies, supporting them on time deliveries, resiliences, and agility is again an important factor, as you can see on the screen. So really, the way market is changing, obviously it's a need of that. So we have some of those focus areas where we're looking at those agility in nature, so that helps them making those market driven decisions. So we also have some of the initiatives where we're looking at what are the things we can do in terms of the planning, which will bring confidence for the businesses and supply chain managers to bring in those to build those business models, look at some of the quick opportunities. So what are the flexibilities they can have? So some of those things we are working on in this area. And obviously, with solutions in place, we are able to help our customers reduce the costs, improving the market efficiency, and connecting the supply chains. So we're also having the supply chain connections. It could be via sea, land, or air. So we're helping them build those solutions around those different connectivity options. So that's there. Obviously, we are also doing from the from the solutioning perspective. We're also doing help. We have a major some of our major customers, so where we are helping them in some of the great initiatives. So we have some customers where they're trying to work on assembly of some of the conveyor statuses. So it's an solution they use right now. So they want to track the operational delay. So this customer is the world's largest customer. So our team have really looked into the solutions, and we are looking at some of their needs. So what they're saying is they want to get those delays statuses done. So they have some of those conveyor belts, and so from those conveyor belts, they want to get some of the statuses, that what is the performance, time, and delay. So what is the cycle counts they have to do? Is there a cumulative count? So all those different statuses, which they want to track with those technologies they have. So that's one thing we are doing. So really, so they have a tool called some RTO tool, through which they pulled all the machines on their conveyor belts, and they track their movement. So they have the issues of the counting. So we are helping them put that solution where they can actually get those automation in place. And obviously those parameters they are able to capture from the PLC controller perspective, and those things can be taken down into the system. So they have those requirements where they need to be tracked. So we have been working with them, and we're able to really help them with some of the needs they have from the solutioning perspective. So that's one area we have spent a lot of time. So we do have some of our initiatives where what we're doing is that on the insights, especially, we have spent a lot of time where we have, for instance, there have been requirements where the customers would come and they would like to talk about some of the challenges they have in terms of the time loss. So sometimes, the people have been away from work. So some of our customers have been complaining that they have a requirement for resource management and all. So we have done some work in that space as well. We have helped them customers some of the areas where how they could actually link those performances of the warehouse workers in terms of the times they have put against the efforts they have been used to get to the order status. So those KPIs, we've been able to work with them and do that work around that. So with that, those are some of the initiatives we are doing right now, and this is a area we are still focused on. Now I'm going to take some of the question answers here. and see if we've got any questions from the team. This is a topic I wanted to keep it small, and because this could be sometimes technical. So with the interest of the supply chain managers, I'm encouraging you to send your questions at ewm@yash.com, or and then obviously I have some questions got. I've just received some questions here. I'm going to take them one by one. So I think one question we've got right now, it talks about. I think as this question on in line with the warehouse insights, are there any people-based KPIs you have got in the system? So I think that's a question I've got here. So obviously I'll talk about this one here. So here we can say, so this one says, though, there are some safety KPIs, for instance, right? So this is an warehouse insight safety KPI. So we can look at those safety KPIs. So what are those safety KPIs are? So those safety KPIs are, look at the time lost due to injury, or you have the warehouse workers, you have total recordable incident rates. Suppose you want to track those KPIs. So do you have any way? So you'll be able to obviously track those data from the warehouse insights. You can actually look at also, there are some cultural KPIs. Say, for instance, you have employee turnover, right? So what's an employee turnover rate? So if you're talking about from the warehousing perspective, you're probably looking at how many contingent staff you have in a warehouse, how many full-time staff are they actually, and you can find the retention rates and all those analytics you can work out. So those details can be, already produced from the insights reports. You can also look at your manager satisfaction score. So manager satisfaction report, what it tells is it actually tells you, okay, you have as an employee, and then from the employee perspective, how much satisfied your manager is from you. So you'll be able to track that how well you're performing. So those are some of the details, can be produced from those insights reports. So these are great tools to find out the employee satisfaction rate and the state and the mood of the organization. So that's really a good question. I appreciate that. I think we've got another question on the line here. So this one is, I think this question is, yeah. So this one is on the benefits of IoT. So questions are, what are the benefits of IoT-driven supply chain management solutions you've got? So I think this is a great question. So really the answer is, obviously, so there's an end-to-end visibility into the supply chain. That is the first and the topmost, benefits you can get. So what it means, so think about the smart supply chain solutions, So these solutions really provide manufacturers with a real-time data about the statuses, locations, flow of the products, at all supply chain segments, starting from the monitoring of the materials and the components on the supplier side up until the moment when a final product gets into the customer. So really you have the end-to-end visibility. So that's one of the topmost benefits, I would say. We do have another benefit, like higher level of operational efficiency. So looking at the operational efficiency perspective, you have a real-time visibility, which allows your enterprises to enter into the new level of operational efficiency. With the data about the amount of materials on hand, you've got the location of work in progress, all those things, right? You have status of the goods in transit. Enterprises are really able to make those decisions and reduce the material search time and the cost. And obviously, these are improving the operational efficiency. So that way, that's another great thing. Obviously, better customer service is another area where those benefits can be seen as a part of the IoT-driven search. So what it means is, really the enterprises, are taking less time to fulfill the customer orders. That's what it means, really. Which means, you provide them with the data on where the items are at any given time, and they actually, know when it's going to be delivered. So it's a complete customer satisfaction. So that's a win-win for everybody. So that's another feature I would say you have. Then you're looking at some of the optimized inventory management. So that's another area, obviously, with real-time quality of the data and the location, the movement of inventory items, you're able to really, save your time and money, and obviously your cost of hands can be reduced. So allowing the high level of customer service, obviously, I would say. And then most important and not the least is the waste management. IoT is actually helping you to identify and mitigate at least those five waste features. Say for instance, you have your operational wastage, you have transportation, waiting, overproduction, over processing wastages. So you have wastages from any operation you have in the warehouse, you're able to optimize on that. So that's definitely one of the questions. So that was a great question. I think while I was talking, I got another one, and I think we do have a few minutes left. I can take up this one, it looks like. So this one is talking about what are the supply chain, what are the areas of supply chain where you can have IoT solution installed? Okay, yeah, I think that's a great question. So I'll have to go about. So if you look at the materials and the components on the supplier side, you can have that installation. So as an enterprise, obviously, and then you have got your supplier base, right? So obviously, let's say you are rolling out RFID solution, for instance, at the supplier side, or getting access to the data from suppliers' IoT system. So you could be doing any of those things, just to get the real-time information, from the suppliers' inventory levels. You're looking at the delivery statuses, schedules, and the routes. So those things you're looking at. So obviously, so with these options, obviously you're able to react to the changes to the suppliers' operations, obviously, because you have got access to that data, and obviously, which means you have a reduced risk of delayed and unfulfillment orders. So that's a great area where the IoT can be installed. I would say this is the one of the things because companies should look at. The second one, obviously, is the area where they can install IoT is the goods in transit. Think about that. Before IoT came into the play, the condition of the transported goods could only be checked really once they arrive at the delivery port. Now vehicles can be equipped with those temperature and the humidity and the vibration, all those different conditions, and it allows really manufacturers to track, because you've got sensors right now in those equipments. So the sensors are really giving them the actual status of the condition of the good. So that's a great area where the IoT can be installed. I think we've got a couple areas. I'll quickly talk about just keeping time check in here. Inventory at a manufacturing facility and a smart warehouse. That's another area I would recommend, with inventory items labeled with RFID tags. Inventory specialists and the warehouse workers get real-time insights into the locations, as and the statuses in the flow of raw materials. Those they can move freely between finish within the facility. So I mean, RFID is obviously the great area where it helps you. Those tags are not expensive too. We have the many versions available. So that is one area where we can look at IoT installation. And then obviously, finally, I would say delivery to the customers, leveraging the data fetched from RFID system and the sensors installed into the vehicles for monitoring the delivery conditions. That's a great area. Manufacturers can ensure the real-time shipments, and obviously you can have the quality of the products being transported to the customers. So that's an area I would say. So with this, I think if there are any more questions, we will be happy to answer within 24 to 48 hours. Or you can also email us your questions at ewm@yash.com. And then we have another webinar exactly after 1 month, and I'd like to invite you for the webinar on the May 12th. So you're welcome to use the link on the website to register your interest for that. So with that, I'll want to thank you for all for attending today's webinar, and see you next time.